Imagine this: a crisp, flawless dollar bill placed next to a torn, faded one. Same denomination, same history, but something compels you to notice their differences. You might even instinctively reach for the cleaner one. But why? What drives that instinct? What are we really valuing here? Before you answer, hold that thought. Because what you're about to learn may completely transform the way you view yourself and others. In fact, this truth might just be the key to unlocking the life you've always wanted. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Surface Value. Let's take a moment to reflect on how much we judge by appearances. Look around. Advertisements sell us flawless skin, perfect bodies, and luxury lifestyles. Social media bombards us with picture-perfect snapshots of curated lives. We scroll, we compare, and in the process, we diminish ourselves. And yet, there's something deeply flawed in all this. Think about it. When was the last time you stopped to ask, does this outer shell really define someone's worth? But here's the kicker. If value were truly based on appearances, what happens to us when life scars us? What happens when time leaves its mark, when our mistakes pile up like layers of dust? Are we suddenly worthless? Society might say yes, but the truth is far deeper. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, there was a young apprentice who stumbled upon an old, rusted gem in a blacksmith's workshop. The other apprentices laughed at him. "That's worthless," they said. "Throw it away." But the boy held on to it, polishing it night after night. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Finally, one morning, the gem revealed its brilliance. A rare diamond buried under years of dirt and corrosion. That same gem, once ridiculed, became the centerpiece of the king's crown. Here's the question. Was the gem worthless because it was covered in dirt? Or was its value simply waiting to be uncovered? Now, here's where it gets personal. What if you are that diamond? What if the layers of mistakes, failures, and doubts have blinded you to your own worth? Chapter 2. The Source of True Value. Let's pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what defines value? Is it perfection? Is it productivity? Or is it something far more intrinsic? Think about a baby. A newborn can't talk, can't walk, and certainly can't achieve great things by society's standards. And yet, when a parent holds that child, they see something priceless. Why? Because the baby's value is not tied to what it does, but simply to what it is. It's loved simply for existing. But somewhere along the way, life convinces us that this kind of love is a fairy tale. We start believing that our worth depends on our achievements, our looks, or the approval of others. And here's the dangerous part. Once we buy into this lie, we start chasing value instead of recognizing the value we've always had. Why do we do this? The answer lies deeper than you might think. Here's an ancient legend of a treasure buried deep in the heart of a forgotten village. For centuries, people walked past the spot, unaware of the priceless gold hidden just beneath their feet. They saw only weeds and rocks. It wasn't until an explorer followed an old map that the truth was revealed. But here's the twist. When the treasure was uncovered, it was found to be untarnished, as if time itself had protected it. The explorer wept, not because of the gold, but because of how easily it had been overlooked. Now, what if that treasure is you? What if you've been buried under years of self-doubt and neglect, yet your true worth remains untouched? What if the only thing standing between you and recognizing your value is your willingness to uncover it? Chapter 3. Love that sees beyond. There's a kind of love that sees beyond the surface. A love that doesn't care about your failures, your scars, or your past. It's a love that looks at you and says, "You are enough, just as you are." But here's the thing. This kind of love is rare. Why? Because we live in a world that's forgotten how to see it. We've been conditioned to focus on flaws, to highlight weaknesses, to measure people by what they can give us. But when you encounter love that sees beyond the surface, it changes everything. It reminds you that your value isn't tied to what you do or how you look. It's tied to who you are. And here's the best part. It's a love you can carry within yourself. A love that transforms the way you see the world and the way the world sees you. But here's the ultimate question. How do you unlock this kind of love? How do you break free from the chains of self-doubt and rediscover your unshakable value? Stay with me, because what comes next will leave you speechless. Chapter 4. Breaking free from the chains of doubt. We've all been there. Sitting alone with our thoughts, feeling like the world is moving forward without us. The weight of doubt pressing down like a boulder on our chest. And here's the harsh truth. Doubt is a thief. It robs us of opportunities, of joy, and worst of all, of seeing our true worth. But let me ask you this. What if that doubt isn't real? What if it's just an illusion, like a shadow that only exists because of the light behind it? Doubt thrives in the darkness, in the silence of our own minds. But the moment we step into the light, when we dare to question it, it begins to crumble. And here's the twist. The power to break free isn't somewhere out there. It's been within you all along. Let me tell you how one man discovered this truth in the most unexpected way. There was once a clockmaker who stumbled upon a broken clock in a dusty attic. Its hands were frozen, its gears rusted, and yet, something about it intrigued him. Everyone told him, "It's useless. Just throw it away." But he didn't. Instead, he spent weeks carefully restoring it, replacing its parts one by one. And when he finally wound it up, the clock began to tick again. But here's the astonishing part. That clock, which everyone thought was worthless, became the most accurate timepiece in the entire town. Now, think about this. If a broken clock can find its purpose again, what about you? Maybe you've been told you're too far gone. Maybe you've told yourself that. But what if, like the clockmaker, all it takes is a little care, a little patience, and the courage to believe you're worth fixing? So, what's holding you back? What's stopping you from taking that first step to rediscovering your worth? The answer might surprise you, and what I'm about to reveal next could change everything. Chapter 5. The truth about pain. Here's a paradox that's hard to accept. Pain isn't your enemy. In fact, it might just be your greatest teacher. Think about it. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Muscles grow stronger when they're torn. And some of the most beautiful flowers bloom after the harshest winters. But here's the thing most people miss. Pain doesn't define you. It refines you. It's not a punishment, it's preparation. But why does it feel so overwhelming in the moment? Why does it feel like the pain will never end? The answer lies in what you choose to focus on. Let me explain with a story you'll never forget. Once, there was a farmer who faced the harshest storm his village had ever seen. His crops were destroyed, his land flooded, and his neighbors gave up hope. But the farmer did something unexpected. Instead of despairing, he began planting seeds, right in the middle of the chaos. People called him foolish, but he kept working. And when the storm passed, his fields flourished like never before. The very rain that had seemed like a curse had turned into a blessing. Here's the lesson. Pain, like a storm, can either destroy you or prepare you for something greater. It all depends on what you choose to do in the midst of it. So, what seeds are you planting during your storms? Chapter 6. Embracing your worth. Here's the moment of truth. Everything we've talked about leads to this. Your worth has never been about what you've done, what you've failed at, or how the world sees you. It's about one simple fact. You are here. You exist. And that alone makes you priceless. But recognizing your worth isn't enough. You have to embrace it. You have to live it. So, what will you do with this truth? Will you let it ignite a fire within you? Will you let it push you to take risks, to love boldly, to live authentically? Because here's the thing. The world needs what only you can offer. Your scars, your stories, your unique perspective, they're all part of your brilliance. Don't hide them. Shine. Remember this. Just like the dollar bill, your value doesn't change because of wear and tear. It remains constant, unshakable, and infinite. Now it's your turn to live like it. So, tell me, what's the first step you'll take to embrace your worth today? Drop it in the comments, because your story might inspire someone else to do the same. Interactive questions for the audience: what storm in your life are you turning into a blessing? Share your story in the comments. If you were the clockmaker, how would you restore your own broken clock? Let's discuss below. What's one truth about your worth that you've discovered today? Inspire someone else by sharing it. What seed will you plant today, even in the middle of chaos? Let us know below.